Alright, Silver Skull Gamer back for another product review. This time from Bitspudlo or bitsbox.eu, another Polish resin company. There's a disclaimer though with this video. I got these parts from this company about almost a year ago when they were still starting up, really. So I think they've changed resin since then, so the quality's probably a little better, even though some of these parts look pretty good. I got some, so let's start with their Dozer Blade, which if you saw my last video, I have one of the mounts already on one of my rhinos. So this is the mount, it basically goes right underneath the front of the rhino and it fits right here. So the only thing you gotta look out for is make sure they're straight and make sure the ends are even. You might have to file down one to get them nice and even so your Dozer Blade is straight on the rhino and not crooked. So, you know, this would go under the front of the rhino and stick it on like that. I really like the style. I don't know, this style just really appeals to me. This cast, you can see it's nice and clean, looks pretty good. There's really hardly any imperfections at all. At the bottom, this is just where it gets broken off the mold pieces there. So, I mean, that's easy to fix and hide. You're not really going to see that. And the mount is, like I said, you just got to watch out for, make sure the ends are the same length. You can kind of see that it's not quite, I believe, at least when I bought these or ordered these, they made all their stuff by hand. They weren't using 3D printing, so you can kind of see there are some inconsistencies with symmetry. Not everything is perfectly square, you know, because I think they cut pieces of like plastic card by hand, and yeah, you can see, you know, those little slats aren't exactly perfect or symmetrical. I think they did a lot of this stuff by hand. So this is their Dozer Blade. I really like the style. I gotta get around to finishing some rhinos and putting these on there because I really like them. Alright, so let's move on to something else a little more interesting, which is probably the big reason I got into these guys, is they sell alternate Razorback turrets. Of course, now here actually you can see change in resin. You have this white resin on this base, and that's probably Polish, can't really read that, but this one's 2010, and then this is the old resin. See that. These are their twin Gatling turret. Obviously you could substitute it as twin linked salt cannons. I really like the style. The only thing, at least with these early production pieces, is there are some kind of difficult problems. If we can see on these barrels, there's some kind of a bad mold line problem, which is kind of hard to fix. Let's see if you guys can see that. So yeah, that could be a problem. But, you know, there are some rough edges. There's another little mold line here, and but this is the bottom of the weapon though. This would actually be the top. Fit on this mount like this, so you know that imperfection's on the bottom. see, it's not perfectly straight. There is kind of a cant to the barrels. But I would say overall, you know, for a company that was just starting out, it's really the overall design that I like, as opposed to the Games Workshop Salt Cannon. You know, the overall style and design, it looks totally different. It's kind of more realistic. I don't know if you guys know, the Razorback turrets are actually really low on the hull of the vehicle, and those rhinos would have a huge dead space. Like, the weapons can't aim down. So, you know, this turret puts the weapons a lot higher. You know, so you'd actually have more realistic angles of fire that would actually be useful instead of just shooting straight up in the air. But you know, you can see this base. This is actually pretty good. A little rough on the edges, but I don't really see anything miscast. You can almost kind of tell how they build some of their pieces. Basically, you know, they just cut pieces of plastic card tubing, and you know, they build their pieces. They don't necessarily sculpt them. They kind of build them out of other pieces. That looks good. Here's the once again, this is an older set, old resin, but you can see, yeah, it's pretty rough on the back. It's kind of ugly. There's actually supposed to be some rivets down here, but they're not really there. And then these little studs going to the top of the weapon system. So let's see if we can dry fit this together. Alright. And of course you can go on the website and see what it looks like too. But so it's a sighting device there, but it's a little piece, and the casting is just kind of a little rough, to be honest. I mean, actually from the front it looks good, but once you get to the side, it's not so bad. Like you can see, it's kind of, everything's not square. There's some angles that probably shouldn't be there. And the back of it's kind of rough. But that is the back of it. Not really going to see that. So, back to the twin Gatling cannon mount. Actually looks pretty good. There's a mold line on the back, but not a big deal.